Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, and all of you potential Toastmasters out there. Welcome to Wake Up with Toastmasters. I am your co-host, Distinguished Toastmaster and Program Quality Director, Ken Richardson. And with me today is the lovely Phyllis Tribby, Distinguished Toastmaster and past District Governor. Good morning, Phyllis.
Good morning, Ken, and good morning to all of our public out there. We're happy that you came to visit with us and would love for you to make a comment on Facebook. Whether you're watching us on this AM or later on in the day, comments will be read. So make a comment. Tell us that you liked our show.
Thank you, Phyllis. And as our viewers can see, we have a different screen up today. It's entitled Time to Vote. And the reason for that is we are approaching that time of year when the annual business meeting will be presented in Nashville during the convention. But before then, club presidents or club secretaries have an opportunity to sign up and either vote themselves or assign excuse me, a proxy for our district director. And our little window and signage today is showing you the deadline is August 12th, and there's a link to view candidates and view proposals that will be voted on. Now, I think that the most common avenue for our clubs is to assign their proxy to the district director and allow her to vote as she sees fit. And part of the reason for that is the trio spends a great deal of time, you may not know, but we do spend a great deal of time studying the issues and interviewing international candidates. But if you've decided, even if you've decided that you want to make sure you do it yourself, you still have to go in and assign the proxy to yourself. And that way you're properly credentialed. So either the club president or club secretary can go in and do that. You still just get one vote, but that's how it works. So we're going to show you today how to do it. I've got the instructions, and I think most club secretaries and presidents should have received from TI instructions on how to assign their proxy. I found them a little bit complicated. You know, I'm looking for, well, where is this button I'm supposed to push? So I decided I'm going to stop there. I backed out and I said, I'm going to do it live so we can show all of our viewers exactly what they need to do to assign a proxy. So I'm going to make a check here. Give me a moment. Everything is set there. So Jennifer Smith just joined us. Welcome, Jennifer. We're about to go take a look at how to assign a proxy. So we're going to have to go online. I don't know exactly how long this is going to take, so I'm going to go ahead and get into it. And that way we'll have some time on the end, okay? But anything that you want to jump in here with, Phyllis, please do so. Now, where did it go? Of course, it's not where it's supposed to be. Hold on.
Do they still have the candidates showcase at the district or at the international conference?
Yes, well, they're going to have something similar to that, but it's not.
If you have not read about the candidates and you are going to the conference for the convention, then you can go to what they call the candidate showcase. And there is X number of questions, and they're the same questions to each candidate. So you get to hear their answers. And then they can stop the questions whenever they want and give maybe a 2-minute speech. So if you're not sure who you want to vote for, you want to carry your own proxy, then that is a great place to go and listen and see what's happening and compare. They also, each candidate will have a location where they'll be sitting 24/7, not that, but all day. They have to take the trio by appointment, but if they don't have an appointment, all of them will be more than willing to talk to you about any issues that you have. So be sure and meet your candidates if you're going to the conference.
I will note that your trio, the trio here for District 115, Scott and Gene and myself, we have been interviewing all of the candidates online. We still have quite a few to go. There are about 20 candidates, but we thought we'd save some time. Now, as you can see, I have logged into the TI website, and I'm going to go step by step to show our audience what they need to do to assign a proxy. So first, click on your name where it says welcome whomever. In my case, it says welcome Kenneth. And a drop-down menu will give you two options. One is profile and the other is log out. Select profile. When you do that, you'll see this screen. Let's see, we've changed. Okay, there we are. Should be familiar to everyone. And that is as if you were going to go to base camp. But here's what's different. They've added an option. Scroll down. In my case, I've got, you can see you've got education awards and everything down here. This is a new tab. And this was, I think, what was confusing people, because when I first signed in, I said, well, where's this tab they're talking about, or this button? Well, it's kind of hidden. So at the bottom where it says annual business meeting, click on that. Okay, so the next screen that you see is ABM overview. Now that's annual business meeting. So that's an overview of when the business meeting is going to occur and the topics that are going to be discussed. So I would encourage you to review that so that you have an understanding of those things that will be considered at the annual business meeting. But here we want to club proxy and voting instructions. Now I'm on here not because I'm PDQ, but because I am president of my club. So I'm going to click on that and give it a minute. Have you noticed how much slower the system has gotten since they upgraded? Okay, so here's what we have. You can download a proxy assignment summary, and that tells you, what you're doing. Or you can just go ahead and designate a proxy holder and designate voting instructions. Now, let me explain the difference. If you are going to, say you're going to assign your proxy to the district director, if you select designate voting instructions, then you will next be prompted to tell the district director how you want her to vote on your club's behalf. So you would pick every candidate for office and your vote on each proposal. If you designate a proxy holder, simply, excuse me, then you can tell the district director, you have my vote, use your best judgment to vote for the candidates in the proposal you think are best suited for the position or will best benefit the organization. And notice under here, I don't know if you can see this online. Bear with me a second here. It's a little bit small, but under designate a proxy holder, it says estimated time to complete 5 minutes. Under designate voting instructions, where you're telling the DD who to vote for, that takes 30 minutes approximately to complete. Now I'm going to designate our district director, but I'm not going to tell her who to vote for. I'm going to let her decide. And part of the reason for that is we are still interviewing candidates. So I don't want to select candidates and instruct her how to vote at this point until we've finished that process. And of course, I do trust our district director, Gene. So I'm going to press the start button here on designate a proxy holder. All right, here we go. So select the type of proxy holder that you want to carry your vote. And here are your options. You can choose another member of your club who may be attending the meeting. You can select the district director or other Toastmasters member. I should note that let's say you've decided you want to vote for yourself on behalf of your club. You want to vote yourself. Even in that case, you would select yourself as a member of the club. You're going to be the one voting. And you can certainly do that because it's my understanding that the business meeting will be hybrid and that it will be free for officers like the president to attend, to listen in, and to vote online if they so choose. But if you have not completed a proxy designation, even if you're designating yourself by August 12th, you're out of luck. So I'm going to go ahead and select the district director and then hit continue. And it says we are designating the district director for the annual business meeting. I keep tripping over my tongue this morning. I think I've not had enough coffee. That's a typical excuse I use.
We all understand that, not enough coffee. That's why I'm always drinking during this meeting.
I know, it's like, 6 o'clock in the morning. What do you expect, even though I've been here? So anyway, it says if and only if the district director is unable to attend, the next senior district officer will act as proxy holder. So that means if something came up and Jean was unable to attend, I am your next highest ranking. It's a little scary to say that, but as your program quality director, I am sort of like the VPE is to the club, I am to the district. So if something were to come up and Jean was unable to vote the proxies assigned to her from the district, they would fall to me. So I'm going to say, yes, I agree to that. I'm okay with that. So I'm halfway done. Then you hit the little continue. I hope people can see this okay.
Yeah, I see it fine. It's working really well.
Good.
No problem.
You hit continue. And it says I'm 75% done. Now we are set. Voting instructions is the next option. Your club has not provided voting instructions for board elections and proposal. If you would like to use that option, you can instruct your policy holder, and you can go back and select your choices prior to August 12th. And I love this, 11:59 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So after confirming, there's a link to begin that process. But if we're not ready, we can just skip that and leave it so that the district director carries the proxy blank and gives her the authority to vote as she sees fit. So I'm going to press continue. And here we are, all done. Review, edit, and submit. So we're going to verify the correct information, and you can see our proxy holder is Jean Williams, our district director. And then there's a little disclaimer here. My club may revoke this proxy before it is exercised by delivering a written revocation notice to the Secretary of TI. But we're probably not going to do that once you get through this process, but people should know that they do have that option to revoke should something come up. So down here, you're going to put in your signature electronically. So that's my signature. I'm going to click this box. And by doing so, I acknowledge that my electronic signature is legally equivalent to a handwritten signature. Then all I have to do, you can see my little progress bar down in here at the bottom, I'm 90% done, is to confirm proxy holder. And that should be it. Excellent. So now we are finished with our proxy. I didn't know how long that was going to take it. And as I said, it'll take about 30 minutes if you go through and select, instruct the proxy holder how to vote. So you can do that and say, Gene, I want you to vote for this proposal. I want you to vote against that one. I want you to vote for this candidate and against that one. So we don't have any questions in the box, so we must be doing well. Do you have any comments about this process, Phyllis?
I would say right now is if you're a president or secretary, whoever is going to assign the proxy, go in and do it today. Do it now so that you're sure that your club's vote counts. If you want to go back and reassign who the proxy votes for, the 30-minute thing, you can do it at any time. They say any time before August the 12th. So you could research your candidates and the amendments and do that later. But do the assigning of the proxy, who's going to carry the proxy now. Don't let your vote not count.
Exactly.
Because you're waiting to decide that 30-minute option.
Yeah, just to make sure you get her done before the 12th. And I'm glad you brought that up, Phyllis, because now that we are finished with assigning our proxy, we're going to take a look at where to find these candidates and proposals. So if you go back to your main menu, the very first option says About. If you click on that, below that, you're going to see options all about Toastmasters, the international presidents, blah, blah, blah. Go over to the second tier there and click on Board of Directors. And that'll take a few minutes. Now, a couple of things that you can do from this position on the TI website. You could look at meeting minutes. Here we go. We can look at proposals. So let's click on that. And this is going to tell you, here are the proposals. And I think there's about 12 of them or so. So proposal A deals with consistency and clarity. So the proposal here, basically, they are cleaning up the bylaws, the Toastmasters bylaws and constitution, to be consistent and to clarify throughout. Restatement of organization and club purposes. These are pretty straightforward. I think of them as primarily housekeeping types of changes. So not something that I think you'll need to spend a lot of time on. Now you can, if you wish. You notice that, look at proposal A. It's very brief, takes just a few minutes to read. But if you want to look at the full, complete text of that proposal, there is a link. So all you have to do where it says to view the full text, click here. So you click on that and you can see the full proposal. Same with any of these proposals, they're going to have as the final sentence, click here to view the details. Inclusive language for gender. This is something that I think is important to recognize equality throughout our organization. We're adding the phrases to non-discriminatory phrases, gender identity and gender expression. And the goal there is greater inclusivity. And I really am proud of the organization for taking that step. So the rest of it, I'm not going to go through all of this, but just to show you communication and technology proposal, clarification of voting rights. Who couldn't use more clarity? And we are an organization that prides itself on being good communicators. So this just goes through different proposals about things like the language used in the bylaws, geographic region clarification, scheduling of board meetings. It sounds pretty dull, but these are the type of issues that often arise when you're dealing with a large international organization. So I just want to make you aware of it, of how you can go through here and take a look at all of this. There's like new club officer requirements, and they want to, let's see here, make sure that the club leadership handbook is up to date and has everything So they're going to amend the Constitution to prevent, when I say update club officers, oftentimes we have club officers in dual roles, but there are two roles that should never be meshed together, and that's the club president and the club treasurer. Because that
This has to be a new requirement. I don't know that I've ever known this, because guilty, after 25 years, I've probably served 23 of them as the club treasurer and maybe 10 of them as club president. So I have been in those two positions at the same time very frequently, and am at the now. But I realize what they want to do here, but changing your treasurer is just a difficult time, especially when you change officers every 6 months. And it's easy to get a free checking account, or well, say I have a savings account for my club, connected with my personal information. So if we were to get a new treasurer every 6 months, then you got to go in and close the account, and the new person has to go into that and get an account in their name or connected. So I don't know whether this is that great a proposal. I don't see any connection with it. And as I told people, you shouldn't have more than $300. And if that's a problem, it doesn't make any sense that it's a real problem.
I understand, but I think their goal here is to not concentrate the entirety of the club's assets into a single person, because as president and treasurer, that's in most nonprofit organizations, that is a concentration of power that would not be acceptable. Let me go back here a minute now.
So I could get out of serving as president?
Yes, if you want to serve as treasurer. Yeah, but I'll tell you how we do it at the district level, because we have a similar problem. A lot of our personal information is attached with the trio and the finance manager. We have an account for District 115. And a lot of our personal information is attached to that account. But every year we go in and we remove the outgoing district director and we add the incoming club growth director. And we all go together, 4 of us, and we have to produce identification and say the secret word.
Yep, been there, done that.
Okay,
but
so
the district is dealing with a sizable amount of money.
Yes.
And it takes 2 signatures, and it's audited, and I'm on the audit committee, so I know it's audited. So
Oops.
That's kind of different than the small amount that's in the club. I understand all about
understand.
Yeah. But if that's the new rule, these are all rules that all clubs will follow.
Yes. Now I want to note here, we clicked on read the proposals, the 2022. Just below it, there is an FAQ, frequently asked questions, related to all the proposals. So you can go through there and take a look at that. Then I want to go down to where it says international officer and director candidates. So as you are preparing to do your proxy, what you want to do is review who's running. So you click on that, and lo and behold, there is our candidate for president-elect. We have interviewed this lovely lady. I think she's from Germany, Morag Matheson. Very, very nice lady. You can click on the learn more about her. That will take you to her website. It's very, very detailed. We'll go down and take a look at one here in a minute. It's 6:24, so we've got a few minutes. If there are any other questions, pardon me while I take a look at this. Not seeing anything here. So we are in good shape. Yeah, Jennifer wants us to make sure we save this video so it can become a training video. So that's good, I'm glad. Anyway, if you scroll down, you can see now all of these candidates, we are planning to interview, and I think we're about halfway through. And some of them, these are senior level, like candidate for first vice president, there's only one. Candidate for president-elect, there's only one option. But then at second vice, you have two people. Then at international director candidates, this is our international director candidates from Region 2. We have Robert Cavallo, I'm not saying that right, I apologize, and Jesse Oakley. Both are wonderful, wonderful people. And then this is Region 4, and it goes on and on like that. So there are usually two candidates, but not all regions elect directors at the same time. There's an alternate. So like this year, you have the regions, the even regions. Last year was the odd. So there's overlap. So you don't replace the entire board all at once. That would not be efficient. So I'm going to go back up here with Roddy Spear. She is our candidate for first vice president, lovely lady. I've actually interviewed her twice because last year as club growth director, I interviewed her when she was running, and this year we got a chance. I want to show folks, if you click on learn more about Roddy, then there you go. You're going to get more information about her, what region she's in 9. She has a bachelor's in electronics engineering and an MS in electrical engineering from New Jersey Institute of Technology. So you can just get her whole history. And then there's a series of questions that people who are voting for her will find of interest. What experience do you have in strategic planning? That's very important. What about finance, developing policies? So there are a whole host of questions that she has answered through the screening process and are posted here. And you'll find that information for all of the candidates. So I'm going to stop sharing screen right now. What are your comments? So we're at 6:27, so we have about 3 minutes. Any final comments or thoughts?
Well, this gives each club the opportunity to put forth their information, state what they would like to happen. So I say, don't let your club lose its vote. Look at these things. Maybe this is something that you could do together on Zoom as a club and go in and look at who the candidates are for especially a regional director. Yeah, international director. That's
international director.
International director, because that's who's going to be on the board, who will make policy for the next 2 years. They have a 2-year term, and as you say, off.
It rotates.
They're elected every other year, so we will not elect another international director for 2 years.
Either Robert or Jesse will serve for 2 years.
So you need to find out who these people are and something about them, because they're going to set policy for our organization. So take it upon yourself to say, hey, how about during our speaking time, we go in and check out the international director candidates or the amendments and the policies, the proposals, as you would have it, to what's going to happen in our club and our organization.
Yeah, because these are international.
Yeah, that's true. And as I say, I have been doing the detailed reading of them to see if they need to change our operations manual.
Yes, that's right, because you are the operations chair for this year, and I applaud you for doing that. I suspect there will be some changes that we'll need to make.
Actually, the proposals appear to be more like general information, whereas the ops manual is definitely detailed to only District 115. So we are covered in the international information. And then we go down to our little detail as to who our officers are going to be, how they're chosen, the committees. It's just kind of like detailed for our district. So I'm looking to see if there's overlap, that wording that needs to be changed.
Well, again, I applaud you for taking on that challenge because it can be quite dry reading through some of these proposals. Well, we are out of time, but I do want to make a couple of announcements on things that are coming up. On August 7th, and the announcement will go out today from me, August 7th, we're going to have a town hall. Now, I know that's a Sunday at 6 p.m. It'll be on Zoom. And at the town hall, Scott and Jean and I will review the candidates and give you our impression of who we think would be best for a particular office. So that's on August 7th. Again, you'll get a reminder about August 12th being the proxy deadline, and you will get a link to the candidates and to the proposals. So you can just click on it, it'll take you right there and you can review it. On August 13th, we will have Educational Enhancement Night. So you will soon be getting a schedule for what classes you can take. August 13th is a Saturday. And as per our regular routine, it's the second Saturday of August. So we will have class options for you. I want to say thank you for joining us today. This video is going to be saved and it will be made available so that you can once again see how to walk through the voting process. As Phyllis says, it's very, very important that all of our clubs take time to study the issues and vote or assign your proxy directly to our district director, because this is the future of our organization and your involvement is vitally important. With that, I'm going to say have a great day. Phyllis, anything you want to add?
Nope.
All right.
Have a great day. We'll see you all next time.
Thank you for joining us. Whoops, I hit the wrong button there.